Tuesdays in Margate don't normally play out like this. Armed officers recording on body-worn cameras are running after a suspect. But it looked like the alleged culprit was hot-footing it to freedom. That is, until a passing van driver stops to pick up the officer to carry on the chase.
Running down the hill towards the viaduct.
Get back, get back.
Go, 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 go. I'm going. Go, go, go. Cheers, buddy. Follow that police officer. Don't crash.
In a reverse of what usually happens in the movies, where the cop commandeers the car, this van driver was in full pursuit mode, happy to help the police chasing the man suspected of carrying out a serious assault.
If you just go past him, keep going past. Keep going past. Stop here on the right. Stop. Don't move. Put your hands on your head.
The wheels of justice have rarely turned so fast. With chase over and arrest made, the officer thanks his obliging new recruit.
Cheers for your help.
No problem. Glad I can be of service.
Cheers, buddy. We'll get on with doing the rest of it, but thank you very much for your assistance.
That was quite exhilarating.
See you later. Hopefully the rest of your day is a bit calmer.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, see you later.
Kent police say the van driver, who hasn't been named, should feel proud in what's clearly a case of a good Samaritan doing his bit to drive down crime.
In cricket, on day 2 of the third and deciding test match of the series, England brought themselves back in contention against New Zealand at Trent Bridge. England took all 10 wickets for 121 runs to dismiss the tourists for a first innings total of 438. The returning captain Ben Stokes ended up with 4 wickets. In reply, England's opening batsman Ben Duckett hit an 88-ball century to leave his side 223 for 2 at the close, trailing the tourists by 215 runs with 8 wickets in hand. Radio 4 broadcast on Longwave will end in just over half an hour's time. The BBC began broadcasting on the frequency from its original transmitters in Daventry in Northamptonshire in 1925, before switching to a new transmitting station in Worcestershire. Our media correspondent David Sillito reports.
Ready for number 3. All ready. Right, let her go.
1934 and the beginning of an engineering marvel.
To run up the high-tension machine.
The powerful long-wave transmitter masts at Droitwich, 213 metres high, along with 2 sister stations in Burghead and Westerglen in Scotland, ensured the BBC was a truly national service.
This is the national programme from London, radiated by the new long-wave transmitter at Droitwich.
Beginning with Eric Coates' The Merrymakers, the BBC's new Droitwich service sent out a signal that travelled far out to sea and, for decades, delivered the shipping forecast.
Dover, Thames, Humber, Heligoland, East Dogger.
And that ability to travel far? In the Second World War, the long-wave signal was a way of communicating across Europe.
These are today's main events. Germany has invaded Poland and has bombed many towns.
And even sending coded messages to the French resistance. And in more recent years,
on 198 Longwave,
allowed cricket-starved holidaymakers to follow Test Match Special from the beaches of Brittany.
And join Jonathan Agnew.
Hello, good morning and welcome to...
But 92 years on, the masts are showing their age. The elderly technology behind the service is drifting into obsolescence. Scan along Longwave these days, and most will only hear the slightly scratchy sound.
I just wonder if there's anyone at the top of
BBC Radio 4 on 198.
Actually batting for Radio 4.
Which has been warning its few remaining listeners that things are coming to an end.
This service is closing. BBC transmissions on this frequency will end on
15 years after the announcement that investment in the service had come to an end, Arqiva, who operate the transmitters, are shutting it down next week. Which means that tonight, Radio 4 will be saying goodbye to Longwave.
Now for a look at the morning papers, and the Daily Telegraph reports that the former Cabinet Secretary Lord Case has called for Andy Burnham to be honest with the public.
Temperature record with a high of 37.3 Celsius at Santon Downham in Suffolk. Bournemouth in Dorset recorded 14.2 hours of sunshine, but it wasn't like that everywhere. There were some really big downpours and thunderstorms around, and at Loch Glasgarnock in the Highlands, we recorded 51.2 millimetres of rain, over 2 inches of rain in the space of 24 hours. Stornoway in the Western Isles only got to 14.8 degrees Celsius. And there is some cooler weather on the way as we head through this weekend. Probably a relief for many, but in the short term, for Saturday, the Met Office still has an amber warning of extreme heat. This covers parts of eastern and southeastern England, valid until 9 o'clock on Saturday evening, because we are still going to see some pretty high temperatures across that southeast corner as we go through the next 24 hours. Now, through the rest of the night, across England and Wales, long clear spells. A few showers clipping into the southeast of England and East Anglia. Northern Ireland and Scotland seeing more in the way of cloud, and still some showers here, especially in the north of Scotland, where there will be some further thundery downpours. Overnight temperatures staying up around 20 or 21 degrees in the southeast corner, but a little cooler and fresher further north and west. And then into Saturday, across England and Wales, a lot of dry weather, some sunny spells, areas of cloud for some western coast where it will also be quite breezy. And then late in the afternoon, we may see some showers and thunderstorms just moving up from the English Channel into the southeast of England. Northern Ireland and Scotland will see more in the way of cloud. That cloud producing some showery rain at times. Still the potential for the odd flash of lightning, the odd rumble of thunder. It will be fairly breezy. Temperatures across Northern Ireland and Scotland generally in the low 20s Celsius. England and Wales seeing highs of 25 to 32 degrees. The highest temperatures in the east, but it will turn fresher for all of us on Sunday.
Some good news, Ben. Thank you so much, Ben Rich. And on Radio 4, we conclude our series, first broadcast in 2023, How to Spot Potential, with Kate Mason.
I'm just going to test my own potential now. I've found this website which has sample tests that might be used to assess the way I think. It's called a Cognitive Assessment Predictive Index. It sounds a bit like it's ranking my potential. Tests like this are now widely used in recruitment to find HIPOs, that is, high potential employees in the jargon. Let's have a go. Cognitive assessment sample questions. Oh no, this is difficult. Choose the word that is most nearly the opposite of commend. Comply, certify, criticise, prevail, dissuade. Oh, the most nearly the opposite. God, I didn't read the question. I feel like that's quite bad, isn't it? Commend, criticise. Show answer. The correct answer is criticise. Cool. All right, should we just assume I get them all right? Oh my goodness. This is like a verbal and pictorial reasoning thing, isn't it? It's like one of those things you did at school. Two figures above share a common feature. One of the figures below does not share the same feature. Which figure below does not share this common feature? Oh no. Oh, it's A. I can handle that. 20. Correct answer is 20. They've done some stuff about maths again. Question 7 of 7, thank God. Which of the figures below the line will replace the question mark following the sequence of figures shown? It's been a long day, potential spotters. I have absolutely no idea, but if I thought about it more carefully and wasn't on the radio, then I could probably figure it out. I'm just going to pick... Oh God, I'm too competitive. Help. It doesn't say whether I'm good or not. But basically there's a chart at the end that says if you do well on the answers, I think you're like a strong fit for the organisation, whatever the organisation would be. Should I argue with these results? Unclear. How useful are they? They just made me feel quite good. They're not giving me a hard sense of something like, say, my blood cell count. Although one of them that I've looked at does basically say if I'm good at maths or not. which I don't know, if I wanted to show potential as an actor or something, it probably wouldn't be that relevant. It's not. There is a scale that says, like, if this is above or below average, so I suppose that is useful. In this series, we've found lots of different ways of tracing potential in sports, music, education and in work. If you've missed them, do go back and listen by searching How to Spot Potential on BBC Sounds.
So there's phenomenal potential in the human brain, and the story of that potential is what opportunities you get. How do you get to grow your brain, develop your brain? Do you get to learn to read? Do you get to learn to speak those different languages? Do you get to learn to play a musical instrument? The potential is sort of dizzying.
Much of this is related to educational opportunities, to cultural scenarios, to how in many places in the world people are held back. But I have a sense overall that the world is not using in any way its full potential of the human brain, of the human body, etc. And that feels very sad at this point in time because we've got so many problems to solve.
In this last episode, I want to look into the future. And it's a tricky one. We seem to be at a point where big changes are happening in society that might contradict everything we've learned in this series about identifying and maximising potential. When considering human potential, we now need to ask, what is that potential for?
Nikki Garchea, chartered organisational psychologist. 20 years ago, if you asked me about potential as a psychologist, I might have talked to you about general intelligence, the capacity to be intelligent and therefore pass anything, do well, and that would be why people do well in things like the 11+. It's a score of general intelligence. Well, now with things like ChatGPT, it can do so much of those types of things, numerical testing, verbal reasoning testing. So if machines can do well in those activities, what does potential and what replaces that view of general intelligence? And it will be things like my capacity to analyse, my capacity to be creative, but coupled with empathy and influencing skills, things that we won't be able to solely rely on automation to deliver.
Nikki is thinking about what the growth of technology means in the workplace and how it moves the goalposts.
This year, the World Economic Forum released data in relation to the business skills that we need to have alongside automation. And they were highlighting that at least 34% of all of the organisations they'd surveyed had an element of automation in roles. And in the next 5 years it will go up to 42%. And if we've got 42% of many roles globally in the workplace having an element of automation, then potential will start to evolve. It's really the question of, if the machine can release some potential in so many ways, what can the human do?
And what that machine-realised human potential of the future might be, and how we get there, is also being considered much more widely, far beyond the world of work, across subjects as diverse as medical science, computer gaming and space exploration.
I'm Ghislaine Boddington. I'm a reader in digital immersion at the School of Design at the University of Greenwich, and I also run the creative collective Body Data Space. At the moment I'm looking at the augmentation of the body, potentially to support us through life, a kind of scenario where we'd have an ally or a companion or a co-worker working with us.
Ghislaine's investigations are part of global research, taking in both the practicalities and ethics of technological advances and thinking about how our potential could be augmented or realised in all manner of our lives through the creation of digital twins, computer-generated versions of ourselves.
The modelling of a digital human, a digital me, that would be there to work with me, to support me in different ways.
So are we thinking like a kind of like a demon in Northern Lights, you know, where you've got a little animal companion who can talk to you about your emotions and various other things? Or are we talking about like a sort of digital slave that we can get to do things like the washing up? What sort of thing are we thinking about here?
The demon example is very good, actually, because we are talking here about something that would be with you all the time. And my concept is based on having a real-time virtual body interface that's with me from birth, grows up with me and learns about the world alongside me, advises and supports across many aspects of life. Could be mental health, could be supporting your work, fitness, etc. And actually collaborates with me on my work, on my social life. So it could be an avatar, it could be robotic or holographic, or all three. There are already many examples of this in different sectors. Digital human twin modelling for the medical sector is well advanced, and in the space sector too. But also we know it more on a day-to-day level. We know it in the fitness sector and obviously in the gaming sector.
So I have a Whoop, you know, one of those things that tells you how you slept and how your heart rate is doing. So I'm imagining some sort of extremely developed version of that that's somehow also maybe listening to my thoughts and following along with what I'm doing day to day. Is that in any way realistic? And how creepy is it?
Well, the listening to your thoughts thing, Kate, is a really great one, because I'm often in the shower going, oh, I should do that, or it'd be great to do that, or I should put that in that document. And of course you're in the shower, so you can't do anything at all. So for me, definitely the ideas and the to-do lists that come up in my head when I'm otherwise occupied and not able to be tapping into my phone would be wonderful if they were translated into those scenarios. However, that one's probably quite a way off. At the moment, it is about the aggregation of data that we do, in the main, already can collect, either through our own apps, like you're saying about sleep apps or fitness apps, or through more advanced apps that are being used by the medical sector and other sectors. I think there's also a sense of understanding now with the AI explosion that's happening into much more mass society of how helpful it would be and how it might make life a little bit less boring if there was an AI working with us to say, this email is urgent, forget this lot. Help with searching for things on your computer. Help with these very basic level tasks that we all spend hours doing, hours and hours, being pretty much robots on our computers, which actually can be done now by AI.
I could basically delegate stuff to it.
Exactly that. And hopefully through that, giving us more space and time to have much more original thinking time and solution creating time, which is where I think our brains are not being used to their full potential.
Sounds a bit Brave New World. But should we worry? Would those machines like us outstrip our potential? Well, science has some reassurance.
My name's Sophie Scott and I'm a Professor of Cognitive Neuroscience at University College London. What I think of when I think of potential is human brains. And the reason why I think about human brains is they're kind of like a machine for potential. You've got 86 billion brain cells. They're what you're born with. You're born with almost all the brain cells you're ever going to have. You don't learn and change by growing new bits of your brain. You learn and change by remodelling the connections between those existing brain cells. And this is giving you a sort of a computer of extraordinary power. All computers have got a limit to how much memory they have. There's no known limit to human memory. There's no known limitation on the number of languages a human can learn to speak. The limitation is time. Human brains are unbelievably full of potential. It's also the case that there is substantial evidence for individual differences along lots of different parameters. Thinking about the language example, there's quite good evidence now that some people are really good at hearing differences in speech sounds from other languages, and other people are really good at learning to produce them, and they're not necessarily the same people. They're two different ways in which people vary. But that's only going to be found out if you have that opportunity. It's a case of both, I think, embracing and giving the potential to everybody to find out what their brains can do. And there might be something really particular, very special about your brain. Well, I hope you get the opportunity to find out about it.
Throughout this series, we've considered potential largely in young people, from spotting teenage sports stars or musicians to entering university and getting on the career ladder. But satisfyingly, Sophie says it's not all about them.
You are going to be better at learning a new language when you're a child, partly because you don't have to go out to work for a living and things like that, but also there does seem to be a sort of critical period for really getting good at speaking a new language, for example, at that age. But actually, although there's some individual variation, most people will be able to pick up a new language with time and with desire to do so throughout their whole lives. Your brain is plastic, it's flexible.
So there we have it. Human potential is boundless, not constrained by age, and, despite current concerns, unlikely to be killed off by technology. The search for potential is intertwined with what makes our lives interesting. It makes us curious and leads us to the question, what next? And while it might be an individual trait, it's also something that relies on others, those who give us a chance, see something in us, spot our potential.
How to Spot Potential was presented by Kate Mason. The producer was Julian Siddle. In a few moments here on Radio 4, the shipping forecast. This is BBC Radio 4. Now, the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office on behalf of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency at 0015 on Saturday, the 27th of June, 2026. The general synopsis at 1800. Low Malin, 1008. Expected Bailey, 993 by 1800 Saturday. New High, expected German Bight, 1016 by same time. The area forecast for the next 24 hours. Viking, north at Sierra, south at Sierra. Variable 2 to 4, becoming southerly 4 or 5, occasionally 6 later. Showers and fog patches, moderate or good, occasionally very poor. 40s, Cromarty 4th. Variable 2 to 4, becoming south 4 or 5, occasionally 6 later. Showers, thundery at first with fog patches, moderate or good, occasionally very poor at first. Tyne, Dogger. Variable 2 to 4, becoming south 4 or 5 later. Showers, thundery in Dogger, good, occasionally poor. Fisher. Variable 2 to 4, showers, thundery later with fog patches, moderate or good, occasionally very poor later. German Bight, Humber, Thames, Dover, White, Portland. Variable 2 to 4, thundery showers, moderate or good, occasionally poor. Plymouth. South, veering southwest, 3 to 5, showers, good, occasionally moderate. Biscay. Variable 2 to 4, becoming west 3 to 5 later, thundery showers, good, occasionally moderate. Trafalgar. West 2 to 4, veering northwest 3 to 5, showers, good. Fitzroy, Seoul. South, southwest, veering west later 4 to 6, occasional rain, good, occasionally moderate. Lundy, Fastnet. South or southwest 4 to 6. Showers, rain later, good, occasionally moderate. Irish Sea. Southerly 4 to 6, occasionally 7 and west. Showers, rain later, moderate or good, occasionally poor. Shannon. South 4 or 5, veering southwest 5 or 6. Rain or showers, good, occasionally poor. Rockall. Cyclonic 4 to 6, becoming southwest 5 to 7 later. Rain at times, moderate or good, occasionally poor. Malin Hebrides. Cyclonic becoming south 4 to 6, rain or showers, thundery at first, moderate or good, occasionally poor. Bailey. Southeast becoming cyclonic 4 to 6, occasional rain, good, occasionally poor. Fair Isle. East veering south 4 to 6, rain or showers, thundery at first with fog patches, moderate or good, occasionally very poor at first. Faroes. East or southeast 4 to 6, rain at times, moderate or good, occasionally poor. And southeast Iceland. Southerly backing easterly 4 to 6, becoming cyclonic 5 to 7 later, perhaps gale 8 later in northwest, occasional rain, moderate or good, occasionally poor. And now the weather reports from coastal stations for 2300. Tyree automatic, southeast 3. Stornoway, northeast 3, recent rain 4 miles 1010, falling. Lerwick, northeast 3, 24 miles 1015, falling slowly. Wick automatic, east-southeast 3, recent fog 3 miles 1014, falling more slowly. Aberdeen, northeast by east 1, slight rain 600 meters 1013, falling slowly. Lucas, east-northeast 3, 4 miles 1013, now rising. Boomer, northeast by north 2, fog 200 meters 1013, rising more slowly. Bridlington, west-northwest 2, 1013, rising more slowly. Sandetti light vessel automatic, southwest 6, 2 miles 1016. Greenwich light vessel automatic, south-southwest 3, 2 miles 1018. St. Catherine's Point automatic, west-northwest 1, 1018, rising slowly. Jersey, northeast 2, 16 miles 1018, now falling. Channel light vessel automatic, south by west 2, 1019. Scilly automatic, south 4, mist, 4 miles 1016, now falling. Milford Haven, south by west 3, 8 miles 1016, steady. Aberporth, south by west 4, 27 miles 1016, rising slowly. Valley, south-southwest 5, 9 miles 1015, rising slowly. Liverpool Crosby, west 3, 14 miles 1015, rising more slowly. Valentia, south by east 3, 22 miles 1010, now falling. Ronaldsway, south 5, mist, 5 miles 1013, rising slowly. Malin Head, east by south 2, 7 miles 1007, falling. And Machrihanish automatic, east-southeast 4, recent drizzle, 5 miles 1010, rising slowly. And here's the weather forecast for the inshore waters of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, valid for the following 24 hours, issued by the Met Office at 2300. The general situation: a strengthening southwesterly flow will affect northern and western waters on Saturday, while a slack and humid flow continues to affect waters elsewhere. During Sunday, a change to a westerly flow will spread fresher conditions eastwards across all parts. Cape Wrath to Rattray Head, including Orkney. East 3 to 5, occasionally 6 near Cape Wrath. Veering south, occasionally 6 near Rattray Head, then becoming variable 2 to 4 later. Rain or showers, perhaps thundery at first with fog patches, moderate or good, occasionally very poor at first. Rattray Head to Berwick upon Tweed. Variable 2 to 4, becoming south 4 to 6. Fog patches and drizzle at first, then showers. Moderate or poor, occasionally very poor, becoming good. Berwick upon Tweed to Whitby. Variable 2 to 4, becoming southeast 3 to 5, then veering south or southwest 2 to 4 later. Drizzle at first, then showers. Moderate or poor, becoming good. Whitby to Gibraltar Point. Variable 1 to 3, becoming south or southeast 2 to 4, occasionally 5 later. Showers, good, occasionally moderate at first. Gibraltar Point to Northforeland. Variable becoming southerly or southeasterly later, 2 to 4. Thundery showers, moderate or good, occasionally poor. Northforeland to Selsey Bill. Westerly 2 to 4, becoming variable 1 to 3, occasionally 4 later. Thundery showers, moderate or good, occasionally poor. Selsey Bill to Lyme Regis. West 2 to 4, becoming variable 1 to 3, then southwest 2 to 4 later. Showers, thundery in east, fair later, moderate or good, occasionally poor in east. Lyme Regis to Land's End, including the Isles of Scilly. Variable 2 to 4, becoming south or southwest 3 to 5. Showers later, good, occasionally moderate. Land's End to St. David's Head, including the Bristol Channel. Variable 2 to 4, becoming south or southwest 3 to 5. Occasionally 6 near Pembrokeshire. Showers later, good, occasionally moderate in west. St. David's Head to Great Orme Head, including St. George's Channel. South 3 to 5, veering southwest 4 to 6. Showers, rain later, moderate or good. Great Orme Head to the Mull of Galloway. Variable 2 to 4 at first in Liverpool Bay. Otherwise southerly or southwesterly 4 or 5, occasionally 6 and north. Showers, rain later, moderate or good, occasionally poor at first in north. Isle of Man. Southerly or southwesterly 4 to 6, occasionally 7 later in west. Fog patches at first, rain later. Moderate or good, occasionally very poor at first. Loch Foyle to Carlingford Loch. Southerly or southeasterly 4 to 6, occasionally 7 in east. Showers, rain later, good, occasionally poor. Mull of Galloway to Mull of Kintyre, including the Firth of Clyde and North Channel. Southerly or southeasterly 4 to 6, occasionally 7 in North Channel. Showers, rain later, good, occasionally poor. Mull of Kintyre to Ardnamurchan Point. South or southeast 4 to 6. Showers, rain later, moderate or good, occasionally poor later. Ardnamurchan Point to Cape Wrath. East or southeast 3 to 5, occasionally 6 near Cape Wrath. Veering south or southwest 4 to 6. Rain or showers, thundery at first, moderate or good, occasionally poor. And Shetland Isles, east 3 or 4, veering south or southeast 4 or 5, occasional rain and fog patches, showers later, moderate or good, occasionally very poor. And that completes the shipping forecast. Well, before we leave you tonight, I just wanted to take a moment to mark the end of an era. For almost a century, the Longwave transmitters have carried the BBC across the airwaves, from the iconic Droitwich transmitting station in Worcestershire to Westerglen and Margate in Scotland. And though the Longwave signal is fading into history this morning, the memories and the connection it created will endure forever. We shall miss your warmth and crackle. Well, that's it from me, Al Ryan, and all of us here at Broadcasting House. If you have been, thanks for listening. Have a safe, quiet and peaceful night. Good night. Ihuwa.
You are listening to 198 kHz Longwave. BBC Radio 4 is no longer available on this frequency. However, you can find Radio 4 many other ways. You can find BBC Radio 4 online via BBC Sounds. Radio 4 is available on DAB digital radio and through your digital television, including Freely. Radio 4 is also available via FM radio on 92 to 95 MHz and 103 to 105 MHz. Plus, you can listen via your smart speaker. Just say, play Radio 4. Information on how to listen can be found on the BBC website at bbc.co.uk/reception. You are listening to 198 kHz Longwave. BBC Radio 4 is no longer available on this frequency. However, you can find Radio 4 many other ways. You can find BBC Radio 4 online via BBC Sounds. Radio 4 is available on DAB digital radio and through your digital television, including Freely. Radio 4 is also available via FM radio on 92 to 95 MHz and 103 to 105 MHz. Plus, you can listen via your smart speaker. Just say, play Radio 4. Information on how to listen can be found on the BBC website at bbc.co.uk/reception. You are listening to 198 kHz Longwave. BBC Radio 4 is no longer available on this frequency. However, you can find Radio 4 many other ways. You can find BBC Radio 4 online via BBC Sounds. Radio 4 is available on DAB digital radio and through your digital television, including Freely. Radio 4 is also available via FM radio on 92 to 95 MHz and 103 to 105 MHz. Plus, you can listen via your smart speaker. Just say, play Radio 4. Information on how to listen can be found on the BBC website at bbc.co.uk/reception. You are listening to 198 kHz Longwave. BBC Radio 4 is no longer available on this frequency. However, you can find Radio 4 many other ways. You can find BBC Radio 4 online via BBC Sounds. Radio 4 is available on DAB digital radio and through your digital television, including Freely. Radio 4 is also available via FM radio on 92 to 95 MHz and 103 to 105 MHz. Plus, you can listen via your smart speaker. Just say, play Radio 4. Information on how to listen can be found on the BBC website at bbc.co.uk/reception. You are listening to 198 kHz Longwave. BBC Radio 4 is no longer available on this frequency. However, you can find Radio 4 many other ways. You can find BBC Radio 4 online via BBC Sounds. Radio 4 is available on DAB digital radio and through your digital television, including Freely. Radio 4 is also available via FM radio on 92 to 95 MHz and 103 to 105 MHz. Plus, you can listen via your smart speaker. Just say, play Radio 4. Information on how to listen can be found on the BBC website at bbc.co.uk/reception. You are listening to 198 kHz Longwave. BBC Radio 4 is no longer available on this frequency. However, you can find Radio 4 many other ways. You can find BBC Radio 4 online via BBC Sounds. Radio 4 is available on DAB digital radio and through your digital television, including Freely. Radio 4 is also available via FM radio on 92 to 95 MHz and 103 to 105 MHz. Plus, you can listen via your smart speaker. Just say, play Radio 4. Information on how to listen can be found on the BBC website at bbc.co.uk/reception. You are listening to 198 kHz Longwave. BBC Radio 4 is no longer available on this frequency. However, you can find Radio 4 many other ways. You can find BBC Radio 4 online via BBC Sounds. Radio 4 is available on DAB digital radio and through your digital television, including Freely. Radio 4 is also available via FM radio on 92 to 95 MHz and 103 to 105 MHz. Plus, you can listen via your smart speaker. Just say, play Radio 4. Information on how to listen can be found on the BBC website at bbc.co.uk/reception. You are listening to 198 kHz Longwave. BBC Radio 4 is no longer available on this frequency. However, you can find Radio 4 many other ways. You can find BBC Radio 4 online via BBC Sounds. Radio 4 is available on DAB digital radio and through your digital television, including Freely. Radio 4 is also available via FM radio on 92 to 95 MHz and 103 to 105 MHz. Plus, you can listen via your smart speaker.